Welcome to part 4 of my Civilization 2 game as the Persians. In the last video, I grew my civilization using Wheel of the Console Day. So now I have a whole bunch of size 8 cities, and that actually ranks me supreme in the world. At least based on the metric that the civilization rankings are done by in the game. So, life goes on in the civilization. Just because you're big doesn't mean that you have all your problems solved for you. In fact, a great portion of the advantage that you get from celebrating your cities this large is that your caravan deliveries have more value, at least at the moment. Because it's not like I can work a lot of land squares to get all sorts of shields, because none of them have roads, and therefore I wouldn't generate enough trade. So basically I get more tax income from my cities, or I guess in this case it's research, and not much else. So I still have to do the same amount of rush buying or even more. Okay, so now I discover sanitation and get the usual error that comes from opening the Civilopedia for the first time in a boot up, I guess, of the virtual PC, Windows 7. Okay, so there the English stole literacy, and I decided not to go to war with them. And also, Sun Tzu's War Academy was built, as well as Leonardo's Workshop, the latter of which was built by the Vikings. And I think the Russians built the former, or maybe the Zulus. Didn't notice, and I don't usually pay attention to that anymore. Okay, so there I built Altan Tepe, basically just to close off the gap there, make it harder for an invasion to happen, and I believe it also allows me to transfer units between those two seas. Alright, so check out what all the civilizations have. Okay, so there I got invention and feudalism from the Russians. And I get their maps. So feudalism is interesting technology because it eliminates the warrior slot. Oh, there I discovered magnetism and began democracy. Anyway, feudalism eliminates the warrior slot in your production So that means that you can't use that slot for incremental rush buying, and so you'll end up spending a little bit more on some of your rush builds of units. So you don't want to get it too early, unless you happen to really need pikemen for some strange reason. But you do need it in order to research theology. So you have to get it at some point. Okay, so here I am starting to rush galleons, because they're nice. They don't cause unhappiness in your cities, which is a big improvement over your other ships. Because, I mean, who goes to war with triremes and caravels anyway? Well, actually, I guess caravels aren't too bad, because they can beat other caravels. But, you know, if all you're really interested in is commerce, it's just annoying to have that attack power. Oh yeah, so there's another caravan delivery, 378 gold. It's decent. Oh yeah, there I was pre-charging a settler. So wait, see, the way settlers work is that the settler contains all the work that it's done until it actually completes the job. So you can actually do some work and then cancel the job, and the settler will keep all of that effort. So then you can go and actually build something quicker when you get to the site you want it at. Oh yeah, so I gave the Russians sanitation in the hope that they'd build some sewer systems. Make their cities larger. Which means more trade. Which means my delivery bonuses are bigger. Oh, there the Vikings got gunpowder. Ooh, a very nice delivery. 838 there. Okay, and here I got monotheism from the Russians. And I discovered democracy and begin theology. But since it's not an OEDO year yet, I'm not going to hold a revolution just yet. Yeah, I was going to exclude that caravan delivery from this video. Then I realized, well, I should probably mention that not all caravan deliveries are great, and that's not a big deal if you get some that aren't so good. I should especially mention that if you're not playing at such a high difficulty level, your caravan deliveries might actually be less, because, first of all, the computer cities aren't built up, and second, you may run into the 2/3 research limit. Okay, well there I just held the revolution. So, you know, there's not much you can do if you're running into the trade delivery cap, and that'll be much lower at lower difficulty levels. Just something to keep in mind if you want to try this sort of strategy. Also, this sort of strategy takes time to learn and do really well to get an idea of exactly where stuff should go. That said, it's about here that I started cutting out caravan deliveries from my videos, because they're becoming sufficiently common that it's not interesting anymore, or at least not usually. Occasionally I put some in. Oftentimes it's because I just put in a turn every once in a while, or part of a turn or most of a turn. So marketplaces are a common thing to build, because the luxuries are really, really helpful. Oh, 50 gold. That's nice. Alright, so I'm starting to stockpile caravans for JS Bach's Cathedral. A couple of those caravans that you just saw were food caravans, which is something that I'll often do, is earmark a caravan. If a caravan is earmarked for a wonder building, I'll just use food just so I know where it's going. Although some of the time might have just been that all the other commodities were actually used. Oh, there, so the Russians began Eiffel Tower. And I gave the Egyptians democracy in the hope that they would change governments, thereby generating more trade after corruption, leading to bigger caravan payouts. I think you may notice a theme in some of the things I do around here. So on this turn I disbanded several triremes because they were causing unhappiness and trying to take them back to the city. So say to disband them is just not worth the effort. And there I went and I lost the caravan trying to look at a hut. And here I clicked outside of the city box and it went and decided to go on processing everyone else's turn. I'm sure that's happened to everyone. Oh, and here I discovered gunpowder and began explosives, which is really nice. Oftentimes I won't do too much improvements at home, like improvements with my settlers before explosives, just because the engineer helps so much, especially when you can make roads in one turn instead of 3. Also, part of it is that that time you start to get big enough that you can more easily afford to have the settlers and engineers out. Well, I guess it's engineers then, devoted to actually doing stuff. Yeah, so I finally got out of the city window. So, there we go. Add caravans to JS Box Cathedral. I think by mistake I ended up leaving a Fugue caravan out of that, the one in Persepolis. Because I had amassed so many that I had extras. Which is better than being one short, because that's really annoying. Because at this stage of the game, it's not really yet worth the effort just to rush the wonder completely from scratch. Eventually you get to that point because it's just like the production time and the effort of getting it all together is just no longer worth it if you're swimming in money. Because, you know, all those caravans that you're producing out of 8 or 10 or 12 cities could actually be going somewhere and being useful. Especially if you're getting more than 200 gold per delivery. It's then better to actually go and deliver caravans. Unless the city can't actually produce any commodities. But then it's also able to produce something else too. Probably. Like a settler or a ship or something. Okay, so I added a settler to Dariush Kabir in the hope of getting to celebrate. He actually meant to disband that caravel. Then I just forgot to do it, and so I wouldn't get around to it for a few turns. Yeah, so that city is about to go to size 2. I had the settler to get to size 3, and then it can celebrate and generate settlers to make more cities there. It's the goal, anyway. Yeah, so just a whole bunch of rush buying here. That's what Civ is. Going through and checking out the cities, at least if you want to play decently, because the AI is so horrible. Oh, good, I built JS Box Cathedral, it's really nice. So the problem is that the AI is so horrible that you have to actually go and check up on everyone and everything very frequently. Oh yeah, use diplomats to check Hudson, find more barbarians. But the diplomat can at least get back on the ship. Okay, so some barbarians appeared. And I killed one of the elephants. And coming up on the end of this video, shortly. We'll end at the end of this turn, I believe. So, thank you very much for watching. And we'll talk again on the next video that I make about the Persians.